Well, one man who has never hesitated to stand up boldly for Israel is Governor Mike Huckabee. I sat down with the Fox News contributor and former Republican presidential candidate recently in Jerusalem, where we talked about the need for Christians to support Israel and the governor's new show coming soon right here to TBN. Take a look. What a time for us to be here in Jerusalem. 50-year anniversary this year of the reunification of God's city. Tell us what that means to you.
Well, it means that prophecy is being fulfilled. God is truly at work in this world, and I don't know of any place where he's more active than in the Middle East. I think it's hard for a lot of people to get their arms around the fact that Israel has been a country that is explained only in the context of a miracle. The desert has truly bloomed. Areas that were nothing but desolate and dry and dusty and rocky now have vegetation, and they're growing fruits and vegetables for export. And just as it says in Ezekiel 37, the dry bones live again. So you see life in this country. And now it is a vibrant economy. It is high tech. It is medical technology on the cutting edge. Many of the things that we enjoy in the United States come from this. You only can explain Israel in the context of God has his hand on this country. And the 50th anniversary of the reunification of the Jewish capital, the ancestral home capital of the Jews, is really genuinely a miracle.
And Governor, on that note, why is it so important that Jerusalem remain undivided? There's a lot of talk now at the UN, the EU about dividing this city. Why is it so important to remain united here in Jerusalem?
You can't cut Jerusalem in half without killing Jerusalem. Jerusalem is an amazing and unique city, but it's the city which has only been capital and the home and seat of government for one people, the Jewish state. It's never been the capital of anybody else.
3,000 years.
3,000 years, going back, to the time of the Old Testament when King David came here. And it is just a remarkable place. But it also, if you just took it in its modern context, even if I was not a biblical believer, which I am, but if I wasn't, and I just looked at Jerusalem from a modern context, I would ask this question: who will preserve not only the antiquities of the Jews, but of the Muslims and the Christians? Israel will. They do it every day.
Governor, this is the one place in the region where there's actually freedom of worship, and Jews and Christians can worship freely at the Western Wall of the Temple Mount, which is sacred to not only Jews but Christians as well.
You can be a Jew and have nothing to do with Christianity. You cannot be a Christian without having everything to do with all of Judaism, because the very foundation of New Testament belief and New Testament faith in Christ, is built upon the foundation of the Old Testament and Judaism. Jesus, people forget, he was a Jew. And everything that I read in the Old Testament, I believe. There's nothing in the Old Testament that I say, well, that's not true. So if I embrace the Old Testament, it's easier for me to embrace the New Testament. And frankly, I can't be a Christian believer without embracing both the Old and the New Testaments.
And Governor, how exciting. We're here now. We're able to walk the land where it all unfolded, where the Bible came to life. What amazing times we live in. Hey, you know what? Over the past 8 years, a bit of a rocky ride for U.S.-Israel relationship, at least at the governmental level. We have a new sheriff in town, a new president in the U.S. Are you optimistic? Do you see good things moving forward for the U.S.-Israel relationship?
I really do, Eric. I think what we're already seeing is that there is like a collective sigh of relief in Israel. This relationship that we have with Israel is strategically important. For 8 years, we basically treated our friend like an enemy, and we treated our enemy, Iran, as if it were a friend, and we trusted them with the most insane agreement that the United States has ever entered into. So I don't think that the relationship now is that the Israeli government says, oh boy, now we can get what we want out of the Americans. Actually, they probably can't. But what they know is the Americans aren't going to sell them out. They're not going to do something like the ridiculous UN resolution that was very, very insulting and frankly just inexplicable that happened just before the previous administration left office.
Insanity.
We're not going to be signing Iranian deals that allow them to build up a nuclear weapon. we're going to hold them in check and create a balance of peace. Eric, that's not just good for Israel, that's good for Saudi Arabia, for Jordan, for Egypt, for Qatar, for Oman.
Coming up, more with Governor Mike Huckabee from Jerusalem, including details about his new TBN program. Stick around.